Roth conversions sound simple on the surface, but once you factor in Medicare and taxes, they can get complicated fast. In fact, converting too much in 1 year can trigger something called IRMAA, which can increase your Medicare premiums for an entire year. So in this lesson, I'm going to walk you through a $750,000 Roth conversion case study and show you how to structure it strategically so you can avoid unnecessary taxes and premium spikes. If it's your first time here, I'm Dr. Amanda. Welcome to the Retirement Income School. This is your place to get financial education on how to protect your wealth and generate guaranteed lifetime income so you can retire financially relaxed. All right, we're jumping right into a $750,000 Roth conversion considering IRMAA traps. And let's start here where we break down IRMAA. So when we think about IRMAA, we're thinking about Medicare planning. If you've never heard of IRMAA, it is the income-related monthly adjustment amount. And the reason there's this premium is because the Medicare healthcare system is largely governmental funded, and individuals pay premiums to participate in two portions of it. That's parts B and D. So Medicare charge premiums to participants for Medicare Part B cover doctor visits, and Part D cover the prescription drug benefit. In 2026, the basic premium Part B is $202.90 per month, and the premium for Part D varies by the plan. Now, the standard premiums for these are increased by surcharges that are imposed on upper income individuals. So those with a modified adjusted gross income that exceeds $109,000 for an individual or $218,000 on a joint return have a tier-based surcharge. In 2026, the largest premium surcharges apply to people with a modified adjusted gross income of $500,000 for a single filer and $750,000 for joint filers. Again, like I said, this extra amount that higher income individuals pay is called IRMAA, income related monthly adjustment amount. And there are 5 IRMAA tiers that you want to be aware of. And here's this chart to show you how this breaks down. If you're a single filer and you have $109,000 or less, you're going to be charged at the standard rate, which is $202,090. If you're at $218,000 for a married filer, same thing, you are going to be charged the standard rate. And then it's tier-based, and it just keeps increasing based on this chart. Now, remember that IRMAA is a cliff basis. What that means is if you go 1 cent over these numbers, you're going to go to the next tier. It's not the same as our ordinary income tax brackets, where if you go over that amount, then you're just charged at that additional rate. So we've got marginal ordinary income tax and effective tax rates. That's not the same with IRMAA, where if you go $1 over, then you're charged at the next tier. So here's this example. If Bob has a modified adjusted gross income of $109,000 and he's a single filer, no surcharge, just the standard rate. But if the income reaches $109,001, then a monthly surcharge of $81.20 for Part B plus $14.50 for Part D for a total of $95.70 is going to apply for all 12 months of the year. So Bob's $1 of additional income increases premium costs by $1,148.40 for the year. And so you want to pay attention to the tier-based IRMAA charges. And that's why today we're walking through a Roth conversion, considering being capped at a different tier level for this married couple. Now let's break this down. We're going to look at a Roth conversion case study for $750,000. This is going to be for Sally and Sam Sample, and their annual income is $125,000. Their total net worth is $3.75 million. They already have $1 million in Roth. They've got a traditional IRA that we're going to look at converting for $750,000. They have a brokerage account with $1 million, and they've got real estate valued at $1 million for a total of $3.75. Now, just a quick disclaimer here. This is a combination of clients who come to me, and this is a typical situation that they might be in. And something that Sam and Sally want to accomplish is that they want to convert $750,000 to Roth, and they want to fully convert this traditional IRA to a Roth account. They want to stay within IRMAA Tier 2 bracket, so they want to avoid triggering Medicare premium spikes, and they want to minimize their lifetime taxes, optimizing the conversion to reduce their total tax burden. And one of their biggest goals was to pass at least $2.5 million tax-free to their children, and that's why they're interested in doing a Roth. They don't need access to the IRA money for living because they've already got this $125,000 per year of income And that covers the basis for them. This isn't a combination of pension, RMDs from an inherited IRA that they received, and other income that they have available to them. So they're not looking to do a Roth conversion to have more income for themselves in the future. Their main goal is to pass this on to their children tax-free. Partly this is because they received a large inherited IRA and they've experienced the tax issues with that. So they want to make sure when they pass their wealth on to their kids, they pass them a Roth IRA, because when you pass your IRA to your children, there's a 10-year timeline for them to distribute that IRA. What this does is that often your children are in their highest income earning years when they receive this inheritance. So it adds to their tax liability, causing future tax issues for your heirs. And so because they had experienced this, they wanted to make sure that when they pass the money on to their children, they have a Roth IRA, because they'll have to distribute that Roth IRA within 10 years, but there's no taxes on a Roth IRA. So the children can let that money grow tax-free for 10 years and then distribute all of it in the 10th year. And all of the growth over that 10-year period from when they inherited that Roth IRA is going to be tax-free to them and not cause them future tax problems. So with Sam and Sally's portfolio in mind and their goals, let's look at a Roth blueprint and see what this conversion would look like to keep them below the tier 2 IRMAA bracket. So what you'll see here is software that I use when I'm working with clients on Roth conversions with Roth-friendly annuities. It pulls in this Roth-friendly annuity company and helps us optimize the conversion strategy based on the ordinary income tax bracket. So in that case, we would be doing tax bracket management and looking at how to optimize your conversion based on that. In this case, we're looking at IRMAA. So we're going to cap this one at a tier 2 IRMAA bracket so you can see what this strategy would look like. Now, as I fill in the information for this client, we're looking at Sally Sample. She's age 65, Sam age 62, and they have $750,000 that they want to convert from their traditional IRA. In this case, I said they're from Colorado because that's the state I'm from, but this is just a combination of various clients who come to me, and this is a very typical case that I see. And so I wanted to show you what these numbers will look like and play this out so you can understand how a Roth conversion using an annuity could look for you. In their case, again, they have Social Security income. They've also got a taxable income of $125,000 per year. And we are using an FIA, a fixed index annuity that has no bonus, because they have 2 buckets of money that they can pull from in order to pay for the taxes on the conversion. Here you'll see we're converting the $750,000 IRA, but they have $1 million in Roth and they also have $1 million in their brokerage account. So they said, we would like to convert to Roth in order to meet this goal of passing a minimum of $2.5 million tax-free to our children. And so those are the parameters that we set. Now, there are other options for annuities. This is just one option, and this is at the time of this recording. The one that we're using has a 4% floor because it has a 40% vested bonus over the course of 10 years. So each year, 4% is guaranteed to be credited plus index growth. And so running the parameters and looking at historical performance, we put a rate of return at 9%. Now, this varies some, and when we walk through this together, I show you exactly how we get these numbers. But for now, all you need to know is that we're putting a rate of return that averages 9% per year. And you'll see that that gives them 172% increase in their wealth if we use this annuity strategy to do their Roth conversion over a series of years, capped at the tier 2 IRMAA bracket. Now, when we're running your scenario, we can cap it at a tax rate or an IRMAA bracket or a specified amount. And so there are a lot of options, but in this case study, I wanted to show you what it looks like to do a tier 2 conversion with someone who has money to pay for the conversion out of pocket. Another option would be, and this is very common for clients, is to say, I don't want to come out of pocket to pay the taxes on the conversion. I want a bonus annuity that's going to help me offset the taxes. And in that case, we would look at a different scenario so that you could decide, well, on this conversion, instead of paying externally, I want to pay internally. And so we set the parameters based on your goals. And in this case, we're looking at the tier 2 cap paying for the taxes externally. So when we submit all this information into the software, what we see, like I said, is that 172% increase in their lifetime wealth. And we see that we have a conversion blueprint that's showing us that they can complete this conversion before Sally's age 73, which is her RMD age. So over a series of years, it's mapping out for us that we are going to be able to convert at the tier 2 bracket and pay these taxes out of pocket. So it's going to break it down, showing us each year, okay, we've got federal and state taxes totaling $39,930 in year 1. And that we take 750,000, we distribute 149,000 and convert that to Roth, pay the taxes out of pocket because that's what they wanted in this case. And the interest that's credited is 67,500. Again, that's based on this rate of return based on the historical performance of this particular annuity at the time of this recording. And what they end with then is at the end of the year in the IRA, they've now distributed a portion of it. So they've got $655,090. And in the Roth, they've got $162,410. And that's based on the crediting and the growth of the performance of this annuity. Now, as a disclaimer, this is hypothetical. We're not going to be able to guarantee this 9% rate of return. In this annuity, there's a 4% guarantee each year for a total of 40% minimum. And then the index crediting is going to be added on top of that. So let's say that you had an annuity where we had a downturn market for 10 years straight. Well, then we could only put the number 4 here because you'd have a guaranteed 4% annual rate of return. That hasn't happened in the market in the past, but it could. So your guaranteed rate in this case on this annuity would be 4%. And fixed index annuities have that protection at the 0% floor, and then they have the opportunity for gain. So in this fixed indexed annuity, there is an 8% cap on the S&P and a 70% participation rate in the dynamic intraday index. So tracking those two and adding the historical rate of return is going to help us come up with this number. And this is a very conservative number, but I like to be conservative when I'm running these so that you're always looking at the worst case scenario instead of the best case scenario. And in that, then we look at this 10-year contract. So at age 65, they had 750,000, and at age 75, at the 10 years, they're looking at 1.8 million in this annuity, where it's all now been converted to Roth. So that's more than a doubling over the course of that 10-year period. But in this case, they did pay the taxes out of pocket. So in this case, they paid $254, $350 in taxes, and they wanted to pay this externally from their other buckets of money, their Roth and their brokerage account. And then they end that 10-year period. Now they've got that 1.846 million. Let's say that they pulled from their brokerage to pay the taxes. So now they've got over 2.5 million in Roth, and that meets their goal of giving over 2.5 million to their heirs. And that would be if they were to pass at the 10th year of this contract, which statistically isn't likely, but could happen. And in that case, their heirs, their children, would receive the 1.846 from this, and then whatever their Roth had grown to that they already had converted. One other thing to point out here on this blueprint is that we're doing this tier bracket management. Now, if they for some reason wanted to do a faster conversion, we could say, let's cap this at a 24% tax rate and see what happens. And, we can just look at that and run the numbers and say, does that make sense? Is that going to help us increase our net worth? Is that going to have us be on a different timeline that we choose? So it'd be a much faster conversion. In that case, they'd be paying tier 5 IRMAA for a couple of years, and then tier 3, and then it would go down to tier 1. And so we would play these scenarios out to see what makes the most sense for you and meeting your goals. Another scenario here that would make sense to run is say, well, what if we did a tier 3 conversion and look at how long that would take? And let's see what the software shows us. About the same difference, and it's just going to be a different timeline. And so we're looking at tier 3. They can again do that faster, and they're going to end up paying tier 3 for 4 years and then be in the tier 1 bracket. So this is how we would play out a Roth conversion for you, considering your unique goals. And this is really what we want to think about when we're considering partial Roth conversions and why they matter. You don't want to convert too much too fast, because converting too much in 1 year can trigger a significant tax spike. You're also going to have that IRMAA bracket creep. Remember, we said that if you go $1 over, then you get bumped into the next tier because it's called a cliff. IRMAA surcharges apply a cliff. And so $1 over, you go over that cliff into the next tier. And so we want to be very strategic about IRMAA bracket creep. We want to think about Social Security timing. So we want to coordinate conversions with our Social Security start date. We want to think about the RMD window. And these are all going to be unique factors that apply to you and your situation. So the key question we want to ask is, how do we convert efficiently without increasing taxes and Medicare costs unnecessarily? And in this case, an additional question is, how do I convert that $750,000 at the top of the tier 2 bracket, get my traditional IRA converted to Roth so that I can pass it on to my heirs tax-free and meet that goal, in their case, of the $2.5 million that they wanted their kids to inherit tax-free? Other key takeaways are that precision matters. Roth conversion should be planned carefully to avoid tax and Medicare surprises. You want to think about spreading conversions strategically to optimize Medicare timing, IRMAA, and your RMD age. And the reason that we want to use an annuity in this case is that it's a safe money solution. It's giving you safe growth, protection. It's giving you that peace of mind so that as you're strategically doing partial Roth conversions year by year, you aren't worried that you're losing money during the process. And so you've got this protected safe money bucket, and that's where an annuity fits in well in this case. This type of conversion is going to be for somebody who wants a safe money bucket added to their portfolio and doesn't want to worry about losing money during the conversion process. This also is a great fit for somebody who wants to be able to use a bonus annuity to pay for taxes on the conversion and help offset the taxes on the conversion using a bonus from the annuity. Sometimes people are hesitant to do a conversion because they know that they've got to come up with the taxes on the conversion. Remember here we said that they were going to pay $233,260 in taxes, and not everybody wants to come out of pocket for that. And so another benefit of using an annuity is that you can use a bonus annuity that helps you pay for taxes on the conversion process. And also you're going to protect the tax thresholds. So you're controlling the conversion. You can stay within IRMAA limits, or you can stay within tax bracket limitations that we set. Typically the 24% tax bracket is really the sweet spot in a Roth conversion process. These numbers are all going to vary based on your unique goals, your age, your timeline to RMDs, and your inheritance strategies. And all of that is going to be considered when we do a Roth conversion strategy for you using an annuity. Remember, the bottom line, a Roth conversion isn't just a tax decision. It's a tax and Medicare and retirement planning strategy. You're thinking about tax efficiency, Medicare protection, and legacy planning when you're doing Roth conversions over a series of years. All right. If you are ready to explore a Roth conversion using an annuity, go to retirementincome.school. Click on the link that says book a Q&A call. We'll schedule a call. We'll see if it's a good fit for us to move forward together. And then over Zoom, we'll map out your conversion strategy using an annuity, and we'll monitor it over time. And that's a wrap on this lesson. If you have not yet subscribed to the Retirement Income School podcast or YouTube channel, be sure to do so now. Click on the notification bell so you never miss out on a lesson. And be sure to stick with me here at the Retirement Income School, where I will help you keep your money safe and make it last so you can enjoy retirement. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial, legal, or tax advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making decisions about your retirement.